Hello, Internet. I have an Ubers match for you today against Pikachu13 from the Gen WiFi Battle Finder, and usually there are a whole bunch of really crappy players on it, but I found a really good match, or a pretty good match, I should say. With this new Ubers team I'd made, been testing on PO, been liking it a lot, so, I thought I'd give it a try on Wi-Fi, and I guess we'll just get started with the match. So, Uber's match, I said that already, but I'm going to lead off with my Registeel. He leads off with his Deoxys speed, and I know a few things about Deoxys, and one of them is in before hazards and in before screens. Those are the few things I know that Deoxys speed really likes to do is hazards and screens. So I'm expecting hazards, and I know that Deoxys speed, it's fast, so I'm going to want to try and cripple it a little bit, get the Thunder Wave paralyzation on it. That way it's slower, and I'll be able to outspeed it, and it'll just be good times. Second turn, want to set up my rocks. He's set up his rocks first turn. Because he has the Lugia. It probably has multi-skill, because that's released now. And multi-skill Lugia is a pain in the dick. Let me tell you, because I use multi-skill Lugia, and I know that it gives other people trouble. So, first layer spikes for him. Fortunately, this turn he gets paralyzed as I go over this S-Toss, breaking the potential sash. That way I can just try and kill him off later. In this turn, I decided to go out into my Scarfer, which is my Palkia. I'm really, really bad at nicknames, just so you know. But I think he also takes this turn to switch out. He's going to go out into his Umbreon, and this is where we found out his team is really stally, and I speed this up a lot because, let me tell you, this was a pain in the ass because he has an Umbreon. That's already bulky. Spatial Run not doing hardly anything. Again, decided to go out into my Arceus, which is actually a ground-type Arceus, which I've been using and I really like. It turns out this Umbreon has Moonlight and Roar and Heal Bell, and it's bad times, so he's going to roam me out, try and get some passive damage on with entry hazards. I end up toxing him with a Registeel, which is really good because Synchronize doesn't affect me and I can kind of threaten him a little bit. Turns out here he shows me Heal Bell, or here he goes for Heal Bell, just kind of trying to get him to do that, and, So I'm just going to go for Spatial Run, trying to get crits, kill this thing if I can. Turns out he's going to roar me into my Shaman. I'm going to finally be able to kill it with a Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm over Seed Flare for accuracy, just in case you're wondering. But here we go straight into another really stally segment with Lugia. This thing is a pain in the dick to deal with. It has massive defense, and it's just really stally. Here I try and go for a Toxic, but of course sub. Like, I don't run sub on my Lugia, so, I wasn't really expecting it, but it's just going to Whirlwind me out into my Arceus, going to go for Dat Stone Edge as he goes for a recover, gets back up to full, he's back up to a multi-scale, which means he's going to be able to take that hit really, 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 really well. This time he lures me out into my Lugia, and I'm able to be faster than him, get off a Toxic as he goes for a Substitute, which is really good, because now, he's Toxic, it's going to be wearing out. He's not going to be able to pull this off forever. He's going to keep Whirlwinding, though, as long as he can. Turns out he Whirlwinds me out into my Blaziken. I'm going to just want to break the sub. He shows me T-Wave, or I get caught off guard with the T-Wave. I couldn't remember what his status was, if it was T-Wave or if it was Toxic. But there I get paralyzed, which is kind of important because it means I can't get off that Flare Blitz I was going for, and that's just too bad. Finally able to kill it with good old Palkia as, in comes this thing, which is his Deoxys speed. Gonna be able to take that with, unfortunately, 2 Spatial Runs. Kind of hoping to take it down in 1, but it lives with a tiny, tiny nub, and now comes in Sableye. It's kind of another mini stally section with good old Sableye. I can't really. It's just me trying to take this stupid thing down. He has a lot of really annoying stall guys on his team. I apologize for all that. And here, I thought this was interesting. He has Curse. He has Sub, Curse, Recover, and Toxic, I think. Or Will-O-Wisp. He has Will-O-Wisp. And Curse is kind of interesting because it gets that priority. and also he's behind the sub, he can recover, so it's really hard to take this thing out, and I'm just going to stay in with my Blaziken, try and do my best to make sure he doesn't have a sub up when I finally die, and also that, try and take out as much HP as I can. So, Curse is racking up, Flare Blitz damage is racking up, I'm paralyzed, and it's just not fun time. So, fortunately, not getting any para hacks here. I'm able to go for Flare Blitz, and I don't die to recoil, which is okay, I guess, because I'm going to die for the curse damage right here, which means he's not behind the sub, and I can go out into something freely to threaten this thing. So I choose my Palkia. His light screen is still up. I kind of forget about it right here. As I think I'm out of spatial rends because I used them all on the Deoxys, because it didn't die in one hit from the first one, which is really annoying. So I decided to lock myself into my other stat, which is Surf. Fortunately, be able to break a sub with one, even with the light screen up, and I'm just going to keep hailing. But it's kind of pathetic to see that kind of damage. It does barely a quarter, and light screen finally wears off here. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp, trying to take me out, but fortunately it misses, which means I'm going to be able to get off a couple hits with this Palkia before it dies. So finally hits the Will-O-Wisp, which means I'm going to die this turn, but I'm able to take him out with the Surf, and I kind of was expecting him to go out into his Ditto a lot earlier, because he probably figured I was locked into Surf, or I would assume he did, and he could have just gone out to that Quad Resist and forced me out, and then we could have gone from there, but he didn't, which is alright with me. In comes Chandelure now, as on the double down, I go out into my Registeel, and let me tell you about Registeel, okay? Spike, Stealth Rock, a third of my HP gone. This is a stab, modest, max special attack Chandelure, and I live it from 2/4 of HP. Unfortunately, I get paralyzed and I'm able to go for the Thunder Wave, which is the move of choice I went for, just so I could slow it down a lot. But I lived that, and that just shows you what this is a especially defensive Registeel, just so you know. But he told me that was max. I might have gotten min damage there, but that was pretty intense. I'm really proud of. I took the hit relatively well considering at the range of HP I did. But finally takes me out with a second flamethrower, and I'm able to go out and do my second Scarfer, which is my Shaman, and I run two Scarfers because I like to outspeed things, and for some reason both my Scarfers on this team are special, which probably isn't a good thing, but well, I'll figure that out later. But in comes Ditto, finally. He's gonna have the Imposter, he's gonna transform into me, and I was kind of not knowing what move he'd lock himself into. I decided to go out into my Lugia because it's another one of my walls, and I could take hits relatively well. I figured it would be the Hidden Power Ice because I have Ground Arceus, I have Lugia, and I have Shaman left. They're all weak to ice, and I figured that he would go for that, but he ends up locking himself into Air Slash because it's probably Choice Scarf because it's a revenge killer. And I'm able to just Toxic it, and I can Roost up next turn because, well, judging by the damage he's doing with his Air Slash, I can probably Roost up next turn. Spoilers, I do. Roost over Recover. I'm not sure why I choose Roost over Recover. I just kind of do. I kind of like losing my ground typing, but I was kind of wary whether I could live it. But fortunately, he misses the Air Slash. Doesn't get any flinch even with the Serene Grace. And I'm able to Roost up, get a whole fuck ton of HP back. And this is the turn that I believe he realizes that he's lost, and he's going to go ahead and forfeit the match. But that was a really cool game. Kind of silly, but I had a lot of fun. This is the first time I've ever played Ubers. This is the first Ubers team I've ever made. I obviously have a huge ice weakness, but whatever. If you all enjoyed this Ubers game and would like to see more Ubers games in the future, you can leave a like down below, comment, show your support for the channel, and all that good stuff. Last time I checked, I only have one sub away from 100, which is hot damn. But I will see you all next time. Next time I upload, which is whenever. got a little bit of time, so yeah. Go ahead, like, dislike, comment, leave. Go check out the channel for more, and I will see you all guys. See you guys all next time. Bye.